Hey guys, it's Nicolah and welcome back to my channel. If you're new, hey, how you doing? Thank you so much for being here. And if you're old, you already know what it is. Thank you so much for stopping by. So prior to Corona stopping me from living my best life in the beauty supply store, I had actually come across a foundation that I did not know was a thing. I don't know how I missed this foundation launch. I don't know how I missed this foundation existence, but I did. So for today's video, I'd like to review the... You ready? I don't think you're ready. So as you guys know from previous videos, I had been a big fan of Kiss Professionals, but I hadn't dipped into the brand in a really long time. But today we're going to be doing a first impression / review of their Pro Touch liquid foundation. I'm fucking hot. Like, I'm real hot. Like, my heat is off, my window's open, it's 45 degrees outside, and I'm still fucking hot. Yeah. As far as some of the things that this foundation claims to do, it says stay fresh with our Pro Touch liquid foundation. Hydrating formula keeps skin moisturized and oil and sebum under control. And they claim that it is a medium to full coverage and that it dries down to a velvet finish. It also claims to be infused with green tea for anti-oxidation. I don't necessarily mind a foundation oxidizing as long as it doesn't oxidize super orange. In this review, I'm going to be breaking the review up into 5 categories. I'm going to talk about the shade range and the match that I chose, and also the undertones that I noticed. We're going to talk about the formula, coverage, wearability, and blendability, and whether all of that matches and is worth its price point. If you're interested to see this foundation review / first impressions, then stay tuned. Okay, so to start, one thing that I already like is the packaging. I'm a big fan of foundations with pumps. Big fan. I think it saves product and it also just adds for a cleaner kind of makeup environment, or more sanitary makeup environment. I picked this up in the shade 410 Deep Honey. Now, haha. Beauty supply stores are closed right now, so if this does not like fit, we're in some deep doo-doo, y'all. We're gonna be in some deep shit. Unfortunately, because this foundation has been out for quite some time, and because it is not fully loaded on Kiss Professional's own website, the shade range, I'm also finding a hard time to find how many shades are in total in the collection, but don't worry, I will find all that information and have it down in the description box below for you guys, and also up on the screen somewhere with a graphic or something. So I'm going to be doing this half of my face with a brush, my favorite flat buffer brush, as you guys know, for my foundations, and I'm going to actually try something different on the other side. We're actually going to use some generic makeup sponges. I decided to do it this way because I know some people prefer to add their foundation on with like a beauty blender or a sponge or something like that. I prefer the brush, so we're gonna do it both ways so that, you know, depending on what kind of foundation applier you are, you'll see how this foundation works with that method. So first we're gonna start off with the brush. I'm gonna start off with 1 pump on the brush, and let's pray to God, y'all. The shade match isn't too off. It isn't. Look at that, y'all. We can make that work, right? I'm not a big fan of the undertone. Like, I'm not sure if you guys are picking that up on camera. It is a little olivey, and I don't like foundations with olive undertones, like period. And this is definitely giving me like an olivey vibe, and I don't like that. So that's one thing I would say so far, is that I would beware of the undertones, because when I picked up this shade, it claimed to have a warm yellow kind of undertone because I have golden yellow undertones in my skin. This is definitely not, it's definitely an olive undertone for sure. I would say it's more neutral to olive. Yeah, definitely neutral to olive. Yeah, this is definitely, wow, I don't like that. Wow. First impressions, wow. So I've voiced my opinion about what kinds of foundation formulas or foundation finishes that I like or prefer. And personally, I prefer a demi-matte / semi-matte, whatever you say. I prefer a demi-matte velvet kind of finish, and this is definitely holding true to that velvety kind of finish. So the formula is beautiful. The undertone is it's not that it's funky, it's just not what they claimed. So the undertone, this would look beautiful with or on someone with olive undertones. So it's not like the olive itself is ugly or it looks bad, it's just not what they claimed it's supposed to be. Yeah? Does that make sense? So this is the side blended with the brush. It blended out wonderfully. So far as coverage goes as well, covered up my bags pretty nicely, my faux stash. I have some acne scars here at the side of my face that it covered up really well as well. So coverage so far is really nice. It definitely is a buildable coverage because the more I added, the more coverage I got. So far, my only plight is really the undertone. So we're gonna go ahead and switch to this side. We're gonna switch over to the sponge. As my sponge users would tell you, or tell me, so to speak, always make sure that whatever sponge you're using, it is damp, it is not bone dry. I'm gonna go ahead and do one pump on the sponge. It's blending out kind of okay with the sponge. I definitely do like how so far this side looks in comparison to this side, but it might be a little too early to tell. Let me just shut the hell up and blend. What do you guys think? Okay, so I am noticing something really weird when I try to build up the intensity of the foundation. I'm a full coverage gal, so I want full blood clot coverage all the time, like from morning till night. So I really like full coverage, so I'm noticing that building up the coverage is a lot harder to do with the sponge. Something patchy is happening up close and I don't like that. It is blendable with the sponge, but if you are like me and you don't want a medium coverage, you want full coverage, you're definitely gonna have some building problems. So this is what we have. This side is with the brush and this side is with the sponge. Personally, I'm gonna go back over this side with the brush. I'm just going to, I feel like you get a more seamless finish and a more evenly buildable finish. So if you are like me and you like to build up your foundation, personally, I would suggest using a brush. So as far as shade match goes, because we can't really talk about the shade range, but as far as the match goes, I'm a little about the undertone just because, like I said, my skin has yellow golden undertones. So for this to claim to be a warm honey golden kind of undertoned foundation, it definitely does not live true to that. Warm or deep honey is definitely olive undertoned. Formula, however, formula is bomb. Okay, this is definitely a demi matte finish. The formula so far it's great. I love the formula. I love foundations with this kind of finish and with this kind of formula. So if you do like a true velvet or semi-matte finish, I think this is a great pickup so far. And as far as coverage, I also do think it did well in the coverage department. Get my beard situated. So the one thing that I did notice so far is that the sponge, when it comes to building up coverage, if you are like me and you like a full coverage or you just like the idea of being able to build up coverage in the places where you need it, I'd be wary about using a sponge in that area. I would definitely just go with a buffer brush, or I even think, even though we didn't use one today, I even think a really good stippling brush would work much better than a sponge. Let me know if you guys tried this foundation with a beauty blender or a Real Technique sponge. I would love to know how it reacted using that kind of sponge. So the second to last category we're going to talk about is wearability / blendability. Traditionally, if it wasn't Corona, I would have kept this face on all day and let you guys know how the wearability, like did sort of like a wearability test. But because we're sheltering in place and staying indoors, stay indoors, mother lovers. Don't go outside. Don't go outside. I'm talking to you. Since we are sheltering in place, I'm actually just going to talk about blendability and how it works with other products like your concealer and your contour and whatnot. So we're going to go. I didn't pay more than $10 for this foundation. So as far as price goes, I think it is so worth the money if you can just get the shade match correct. But so far I definitely think it's worth the money. I'm gonna go ahead and go off camera and finish my face so you guys can see how the rest of the products sit on this foundation. All right guys, so this is the finished look. As far as how other products interact with the foundation, I think that other products, your eyeshadow, your blush, all that will sit wonderfully on top of the foundation. So out of a 10, I am going to collectively review this foundation an 8.5 out of 10. My only two I guess, things that made me take away that 1.5 of a point, or 1.5 points, because it's technically more than one. What made me take away the 1.5 is, one, the fact that the undertone wasn't correct. So they're describing a yellow honey based kind of undertone, and it was definitely neutral olive. So taking away points for that, and also taking away a 0.5 for me suspecting that this actually does not control oil and sebum well. Like I was mentioning, just a little bit of talking about the product, I would have some pretty set in smile lines, and in between cuts, of course, I would blend it out so I don't look crazy, but that is something to note. I didn't take away a full point for that because I wasn't able to do a full-blown wear test, so I only took away a half a point. So yeah, I'm gonna rate this an 8.5 out of 10. If you're interested to see how I created the rest of this look and this eye look, make sure to check out the video in the ticker above. Make sure to like, subscribe, share with your peeps, and until next time, you guys, peace.